Pat Walker here with Mission Winners. It is Sunday and once again time to dive into the ETFs and MAXLIST stocks. We do this alphabetically. ARK Innovations, you can see this is weekly on the left, daily on the right. This is forming a nice cup and a handle right here. Possibly taking out those tops there, that could be a potential buy. Or you could punch up ARKK and see what are some of the top holdings in that. You might find money there. That's why we do what we do. Let's continue onwards. This is ARK's next generation internet. And you can see it's a decent base here on the weekly. And it just pushed through right here, started to lift up, close a little bit below the line. It's struggling to get through here, but it is above this line on the weekly and the daily. So it's something to watch. It's in a leadership position. ARKW. There you go. Let's continue onward. Now flip the coin and say, well, this tells me something real quick. I'm staying away from biotech stocks. There you go. It's good to know what to look for, and it's good to know what to avoid. There's no power here, leave it alone. Don't overthink it. Oh, it might bounce here. We don't want to play the might game. Okay, let's stack the deck in our favor. Continue onward. Cloud computing doesn't look too bad. Here's the daily, here's the weekly with a longer base. One slight negatives, there is some overhead supply here on the weekly. This is why we use this template of weekly and daily. I developed this years ago. It works, but it did push through here some volume, but then a slight pickup in volume there. So something to watch going forward. It might start to power up with volume, price and volume. There's a candidate. Continue onward. Energy, leave it alone. I mean, do a compare and contrast. You say, well, that doesn't look too bad. It's kind of trending up here on the daily. You go to the next one and say, no, it's below the 50-day. Leave it alone. Here's a very, very simple investing maxim that will help you. Avoid stocks, securities below a falling 50-day. Just leave them alone. Look for strength. Look for things that are already showing strength. That'll really help you. Let's move on. Here we go. Dow Jones Internet. First Trust, Dow Jones Internet. Now look at this. This is hanging in okay. Push through this line here, okay, right in here, and it's above it. I'd like to see some more power. Here's another valuable, powerful lesson for everybody. You see this bar right here? Look at where it opened and look at where it closed. At Mission Winners, we don't give ideas, just give ideas. We educate. Oh, it's a green bar, Pat. But again, it opened at the highs and closed at its midpoint. From here down, it wasn't met with much buying power. That's something to take into consideration. There you go. Let's move on down the list. I mean, the chart still looks decent though, okay? But you'd like to see some more power. Price power with volume on the chart. That'll help you. IBD 50, lower level base across here that it needs to push through. Still not showing a lot of power. I mean, this is the IBD 50. This is a great proxy for good quality growth stocks. And I'm not criticizing it, please, or the paper. No, I don't do any of that. Just pointing out at this time, the leading stocks aren't demonstrating a lot of power. There you go. Let's move on. Gold miners starts to pick up, and then they take it right back down. Note, valuable lesson right here. As it's going up, okay, volume's okay, but not really heavy. Excuse me just a minute. My apologies. So we're looking at the gold miners, starts to go up and it starts to tail off. Not a lot of power there, okay? And you can see some selling volume. We need to see some strength. There's no clean spot in here at this point in time. Something to take into consideration. GDXJ, junior gold miners, kind of sloppy here too. Be careful with that. Now GLD, look at how this is trending nicely. You see that clean and simple base? Yeah, we own this and it's working. We've sold some into strength. We're in good shape. Is there a spot to buy some right now? No, there's not. So leave it alone. Let her work. Hack, cybersecurity, hanging in. Longer base here on the daily, okay? Needs to show some power. I mean, look at this. This is a powerful lesson for everybody. Open, high, low, close. Look where it opened. Look where it closed. It was what met with selling. Look where it opened. Look where it closed. It was met with selling. So just be a little cautious. There's still power there, but as far as buying it right now, you'll need to see some price and volume. Biotechnology, it's below the 50-day. Leave it alone. Done. Don't overthink it, please. Just let it go. Look for strength. Contrast it to this one, online retail, and how it's been doing. And we're involved with some online retail stocks. It's working. It's trending. Let it trend. Is there a spot to buy it up here? It's too extended. Be careful with that. Continue onwards. Oil and gas, leave it alone. Expanded software technology, decent base on the weekly, and it's trending up nicely. It's kind of tentative though. I mean, it's back and forth. This is a green bar, up bar, but look where it opened and look where it closed. We need to see some up power on there, buying power, price and volume. Still okay, but not a lot of oomph in it at this moment. Medicine kind of hanging in, but a little sloppy. Mid cap, look at this nice base right here, folks. That's why we do this. Watch this. This will help you. What does that tell us? Hey, maybe look into some mid cap stocks. It's a decent base, folks. I mean, look, there it is. Takes down those tops. Some mid cap stocks that start to take off. Continue onwards. Aerospace defense hanging in. All right. Resting here on the ADMA. Look into some. You can punch up ITA, top 10 holdings, ITA. You might find some money there. There's strength in the group. There you go. Systemization. Home construction's hanging in fine. Looks good. You might own some. Junior growth hanging in here, or S&P 500 growth, all right? That's trending okay. Everything's good with the market there. Small caps a little bit more tentative. Look at the look, hitting highs on the move through here, and this needs to take out this top. But what is this right here? It's a cup with a handle, folks. Right there, I've already drawn it. Something to watch with small caps. Maybe the rally's going to spread out to small caps. Real estate it's trended up nicely, but there's no clean entry on it at this point in time. Transport's moving up, but not really a clean entry, but it does tell us something important. It's trending up. There's strength in this group. Looking at some transportation stocks. You see how you systematize? In Mission Winners, we've systematized what to look for and things to avoid. Opposite sides of the same coin. Airlines hanging in fine. Look at that. Look into that. Into that. And here we have regional banks, a little sloppier. Clean tops here, but it needs to take that out, okay? Not demonstrating a lot of power at this point in time. Move on. Insurance hanging in. That's okay. Something to watch. Insurance. Regional banks, what does that say? Stay away. Done. Mid-cap. Look at the nice cup and a handle on mid-cap. What does this tell us? Maybe looking at some mid-cap stocks. One slight negative. It gapped up. It ran up. And it closed below where it opened. Closed in the bottom half of its range. Needs to push through this line with volume. That's what we're looking for. Continue onwards. Home builders hanging in. As you can see, interest rate sensitive. Looking at some home builders. You'll see another one in a little bit here. Oil services, stay away. I mean, look at compare and contrast. Well, this is kind of trending up here, Pat. Well, this is below the moving averages. Stay away from oil services. Done. That's it. It's that simple, and I love it. Pharmaceuticals, stay away from them. There's not a lot of power in pharmaceuticals at this point in time. QLD, NASDAQ 100, started to lift up and backed off. It needs to push above these tops right here. And there's a line across here. It needs to push above here with volume. We need to see this. I'm going to refresh this real quick too. Hold on 1 second, please. There we go. So again, push through that top with volume. Till then, don't be too aggressive in it. QQQ, same situation. But it is trending up, folks. Don't sell it. It's trending up. We just got to find a powerful entry to get in it. By the way, we own a lot of stocks right now that are working. A lot. Growth stocks. Retailing's hanging in nice. Look at that. Looking at some retailing. Cloud computing. I think we're involved with cloud computing stocks. Hanging in just fine. Let her work. See what it can do. There's strength in it. Silver's starting to show some strength. Here's a great lesson for you. Look at the base right here. And I'll draw this to help you. And note this. This is a good lesson, folks. Please don't think it's got to be to the penny at the same time. Highs here, push through. Look at the volume. People saw this. Great lesson. People saw this and said, if it takes out that line, I'll buy it. And they did. Look at the price action and look at the volume. Backed it up. There we go. Let's continue onwards here. Steel's picking up a little bit, but it's still lagging on the weekly. Look at that. It looks decent on the daily. There's a ton of overhead supply up here. And also price gaps. Be careful with price gaps. Chasing price gaps. That will help you. SMH picking up a little bit. You can see these tops across here. Needs to push up through here. But semis don't look too bad. Let's move on. Semiconductor, another ETF. This one's lagging a little bit, but it's a decent base. Spiders, S&P 500. slowly trending up. It's not a barn burner, but it's hacking okay. It's above the rising ADMA. What's the trend? The trend is up. So what do? We just get in line with the trend. And you do too. Same thing's true with SSO. Solar started to push up and backed off. You can say, oh, that's a clean base there, Pat. This is why we look at both daily and weekly. This is a powerful lesson. Look at all the overhead supply on the weekly. Look at that. Every time this thing goes up, you think it's going to be met with sellers? Most likely, yes. So be cautious with that. If you do it, go smaller. Small caps still kind of lagging here a little bit. Needs to show some more power. Oil, stay away. I mean, look, it's dropping. It's below the falling 50-day. Here's a very simple investing maximum. The air is better above a rising 50-day moving average line. That's simple. The odds of making money improve above a rising 50-day moving average line. That's not an opinion. That's a fact. Okay? Just trying to help. Aerospace defense kind of hanging in. Cup and a handle here. Not too bad. Biotechnology, stay away. It fell. Leave it alone for right now. Home builders, hanging in okay. By the way, do you ever think about this? Home builders have picked up here a little bit. What's really a major impact on home builders, the home building industry? Interest rates. There you go. That's connecting the dots. There we are. Continue onwards. How do you build houses? You need materials. Look at what this is doing. Isn't that neat? Just connecting the dots. And you know what's neat? It's not algebra or calculus. It's just simple math. Connecting the dots. Communications picking up a little bit. Doesn't look too bad. XLC. Energy, stay away. There's another energy ETF. Leave that group alone for right now. Financials are hanging in there. There's a base across here. I'll draw this to help you. Just do it right there. Take that out with volume. That's what we're looking for. XLI industrials don't look too bad. Nice to see. Looking at industrials. Technology. Look at this base on technology right here. Just starting to push up through it. Something to look into. Are we involved with technology? Yeah. Oh, yeah. MAXLIST, a lot of leaders. Consumer staples, spacing, not a lot of power at this point in time. Utilities. Oh, utilities are interest rate sensitive too. And look what it's doing. Isn't that neat? There you go. Connecting the dots. Healthcare, lagging. Be careful with it. Consumer discretionary, trending nicely. You can punch up XLY and see where they're leading stocks in the group. You may find some money there. Great tactic to use, folks, and it doesn't take a long time. Believe me. Metals and mining picking up, but here's the daily, but look at the weekly. Needs to push through this top. I'll draw this line for you to help. Needs to push through this, and it needs to do it with volume. We're about down. Oil and gas, leave it alone. Retailing's acting okay. Another retail ETF. Go across these tops here. Here it is on the weekly. Some accumulation occurring with it. It did tail off here and it did tail off here. It needs to push through around 78.50 with volume. But you could also look into some retailing stocks. There you go. Software's picking up a little bit. We're involved with software, technology, and it's trending up. That's okay. There's no real clean entry on it, but it is trending up. Okay, so that was the ETFs. Now we dive into the MAXLIST stocks. But first, let me ask you, have you hit that subscribe button yet? We noticed that only about 40% of the viewers on our weekly videos are subscribed. If you have enjoyed this video so far, please hit the subscribe button. It is 100% free and it helps us get more great videos to you. Oh yeah, the like button, also please do hit that. And if you have any questions, leave a comment below. Now let's get into the MAXLIST stocks. First stock on the list is Apple, basing across here. By the way, I have on my other screen, I have 3 screens. On my other screen, I have market surge up. Why? So we can know the earnings dates, just in case. You can see these clean tops across right here. You can see it on the weekly, and I'll draw this to help you. And you can see it on the daily right here, and I'll draw this to help. These tactics work, by the way, folks. See these tops right here? Now, what does it need to do? Take out this line with volume. What's one slight negative? At Mission Winners, we always look at price and volume. You combine both together to make better investing decisions. This bar right here was a reversal bar. It ran up, it gapped up, it ran up and closed near the lows on a huge selling volume. Look at that bar. What does that tell us? Well, A, it's met with sellers, right? That's common sense. B, it tells us it needs to push through that line with volume. They have earnings on 10/24, so we have plenty of time. Okay, let's move on. Amazon. Look at it in Amazon. They also have earnings on 10/24. Okay, and it's basing nicely here. Okay, bit of a tail bar on the weekly right here on less volume, but you can see, and I'll draw this to help you. A mission winners, we don't just give ideas, we educate. There it is. It's a gradual downward sloping line. It's not steep. It's very fine. What is a negative? Well, there's some selling volume in here. What does it need to do? It needs to take out that line, and here it is on the daily, and I'll draw this to help. Again, we educate and coach all the time. It needs to take this out, and it needs to take it out on volume. By the way, you can say, oh, there's some selling there, Pat. That's bad. Folks, even with that selling, this stock still has a B accumulation distribution rating. B, that's good. We like A and B accumulation distribution ratings, okay? So there we go. Forming a little handle here, perhaps it takes it out. That would be nice. Let's move on to Alibaba, China related. And it just took out of the blue and took off, and with gaps. Here's the important lesson. Be careful with price gaps. Oh, it's like, oh, it's going up. It can just as easily drop. I'm not saying it's going to, but it's a very important lesson. I will say it again. Be careful chasing price. All right. And if you do, you have a plan to buy, have a plan to sell. There's no edge in buying this up here right now. Okay. None. So just leave that alone. Okay. I won't buy it here. No, that's too risky. BIDU, same situation. As you can see, I'm going to refresh this. And you can see gaps. Big gaps like this indicate high investor emotions. Perhaps it will form a handle or something up here, but there's no edge in buying it up here. None. You could say to yourself, okay, Pat, I really want to buy it. Then my question for you will be this: where will you sell it? Do you have a plan to sell? So let's discuss that just in case, okay? I'm not saying to buy this, by the way. I won't buy it here. But let's suppose you buy this in here. If it starts taking out the lows of Friday's bar, you got to sell some. If it takes out the lows of Thursday's bar, you've got to sell some. Again, I'm not saying it's happening, but at Mission Winners, we always have a plan, always. And I'm not encouraging buying it here. Okay, that's an emotional decision. Oh, it's going. Yeah, high emotions, as I've stated numerous times, high emotions and good investing are mutually exclusive. Let's move on. The next one, Google. Now, take a look at Google, and what do you see there? Well, you know what I see? I see a clean and simple base. I've already marked it for us. Look at that. Taking that out. Needs to take that out with volume. One slight negative, a lot of overhead supply. It has a C minus accumulation distribution. Indicates there's more selling than buying. What do we do with that knowledge? It tells us if this triggers, we need to see good volume coming into it. Good price action, backed by good volume action, that could be a potential buy on Google. Let's move on. Meta. And you can see it's just basing right up here. Going across these, it's a little bit extended. This is owned, okay? It's working. There's no real clean entry to buy more. Here's what we'd look for, though, is if this could go sideways for a couple more days and then take off, perhaps it would be a new buy or an add-on. Until then, there's no spot to buy it safely, okay? So just sit tight and wait. Just sit tight and wait. Let's move on. Microsoft. And what do you see here? I've already drawn the lines. We already have a plan. You see this base right here? This is forming a cup with a handle, okay? Take that out with volume, it would be good. One slight negative, accumulation distribution. The stock has a D minus accumulation distribution. D is in David, D minus. You can't get much worse than that, okay? What does that tell us? You can say, why does it have that? Look at the selling volume on the weekly. That's serious selling volume, and the buying volume substantially less than the buying volume. Tells you to be careful. Be a little careful there, okay? Here we go. And you can see it too. Look at the selling volume here on the daily. There we are. So let me refresh that. There we are. We just got to wait. I do like the base that's forming here, though. Okay, I do like that. So it's something we'll watch going forward. but it's going to need to push through in a good market with good volume. That's what we're after. Goldman Sachs, or some used to say in the brokerage business, Golden Slacks. Go across these tops right here. All right. You can see in here, and I need to check something here real quick. Bear with me. There it is. Okay, it's coming up. There's a base going across here. Okay, it needs to take this out, and it needs to take it out with volume. That's what we're looking for on Goldman Sachs. Also, and I'm looking at the fundamentals because I have that on my other screen. We're always on top of it, folks, believe me. Hold on. Bear with me. Here we go. Basing here, you can see there's not a lot of accumulation. The stock has a D- accumulation distribution, okay? D-. What does that tell us? There's institutional selling going on here. You can see it. Be careful with that. What do we need to see to get us to buy it? A good market, lift up through these tops on really good volume. But again, folks, D- tells us big money selling this stock. They're not buying it, okay? And we don't impose our will on the stocks. MasterCard, MA, picking up here a little bit. And by the way, I've got Market Surge on my other monitor. I look at all this stuff thoroughly for us. Had a downward sloping trend line here on the weekly, grinding up. Perhaps what will happen is it'll form some semblance of a base here, okay? And I'll just draw perhaps what it would look like. It could be a flat base, go sideways for a couple more days. Perhaps it will just base down here with a slight downward sloping trend line and then take off. We'll have to watch and see. It is a MAXLIST stock. It has a C accumulation distribution. It's neutral. It's not being bought. It's not being sold. It's just neutral. So be aware of that. Continue onward. Netflix, NFLX, basing across these tops right here. Netflix has a accumulation distribution of B, okay? By the way, yes, I have all this on my other monitor. I'm very thorough at what I do at Mission Winners. Owen and I are. We don't cut corners here. We're talking money, right? Your money. So Netflix lifted off. It's just chopping around right here, okay? But notice this. Pulls back to the rising ADMA. It is showing a strength of leadership here, okay? It hit new highs here, up here, folks, new all-time highs. It's pulled back. We'll have to watch this and see. And even with this pullback, the stock has a B accumulation distribution. It's being bought. Perhaps it'll bounce off the ADMA. Something to watch going forward. By the way, that's the 50-day simple. That's the 21-day exponential. And that is the 8-period exponential. Just to get us all in line with what's there, okay? A little bit of selling here, but even with the selling, it still has a B accumulation distribution. There we go. Continue onwards. NVDA. Let me refresh this. There we go. NVIDIA. Boy, this stock's been good to us. Wow. I mean, look at the weekly here. We owned this here and here. I mean, that, and there was other runs before that. But right now, it's just choppy. As you can see, we're not involved with it. You just got to kind of wait and see what happens. Perhaps it'll form a low-level cup with a handle. But I have to share this with you. The stock, and I'm not being negative here, please. I'm being a realist. You can't deny reality. The stock has an E accumulation distribution. E. That's the worst you can get. It's not being bought. It's being sold. It's being sold. Perhaps that will change. Maybe it'll change this week, and we'll be ready. Right now, there's no real clean entry, so just be cautious with it. We don't own it, so that's fine. Now, there's Tesla. What do you think about that base right there? Going across these tops. I'll do something to help you. Again, I love teaching this stuff. Here it is. Clean and simple base, folks. Decent volume coming into it. Looks pretty good, doesn't it? Yeah. Do you think it's owned? What are your thoughts on it? Yeah, it is owned. You got it. You get the gold star. And you can see going across these tops. Stock has a composite rating of 72, but it's a MAXLIST stock. That's the kicker. Has a B plus accumulation distribution, folks. B as in boy, B plus. And it's basing. We're in good shape. Here's what I'd like to see. I'd love this if this would base for a couple more days and then take off again. Guess what we'll do? We'll buy more. That's simple. And we'll be ready. Right now, we're in good shape, so we just let her work. Visa, there's nothing here. Okay, as you can see, it's sloppy. It's down here by the 50-day. Leave it alone. All right, team, that's our weekly review. Hope it helps you get a clearer picture of where the market's headed and what stocks to keep an eye on. By the way, don't forget about our weekly top stocks to have on your watch list video coming out tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern. If you're curious about what we covered last week, you can find the link to that video in the top right corner. Remember, these watch list videos are just a small taste of what our VIP members get with the daily key list videos on missionwinners.com. So if you're serious about finding those super performance stocks, consider joining us. Now, I'm curious to hear from you. What are your thoughts on today's market review? Do you have any questions or concerns? Feel free to drop a comment below. I love hearing from you. Thanks for sticking around for the whole video. If you liked it, hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. And remember, stay sharp, keep learning, and keep finding those winners.